everybody. It is Natalie from Power Moon Tarot. Welcome to your reading. Today's reading is called What Your Enemies Have to Teach You, or What Can You Learn from Your Enemies? So we are going to, nothing like a light topic to start off this 4th of July. I hope everybody is doing well. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. And actually, you have a thumbnail in front of you right now, and if you want to focus in on that thumbnail, we will have 3 piles to choose from. Pile number 1 is the ice bucket. Pile number 2 is the lemon zest. And pile number 3 is the swamplands for pile number 3. So take a deep and cleansing breath. Open up your energy, open up your third eye. What are you feeling today? Is it pile number 1 with the ice bucket? Is it pile number 2 with the lemon zest? Or is it pile number 3 with the swamplands? So we are going to go ahead and get into your reading. I'm going to start with pile number 1. I'm going to ring the bell. And we shall begin. Let's get comfortable, everybody. Pile number 1, welcome to your reading. You chose the ice bucket, and today's reading is called What Can You Learn from Your Enemies? Okay, or from your opposition in life, the people that oppose you. What can you learn from these people and take and use as an advantage for yourself and as a positive for yourself? So let's go ahead and see here for my pile number 1s. For pile number 1 that chose the ice bucket, please. For pile number 1 that chose the ice bucket, what can they learn from their enemies? What can they learn? Okay, pile number 1, we are going to go ahead. I just felt something about like a metallic taste in my mouth, or some type of metallic taste in my mouth. And then I felt a little bit nervous, pile number 1. So maybe some of you are having like dental work done or teeth work done, or you've got appointments coming up or things like that, or you've got some things that you've been nervous about. But let's go ahead and see for my pile number 1s. We have Temperance on the bottom of the deck, and I'm going to go ahead and we have here the Star card, okay, and we have the 8 of Cups, we have the 3 of Wands, and the Queen of Swords. Ooh, I like it. And your enemies have taught you something about hope is a beautiful thing, and it's wonderful to have the promise of hope in life, but that we shouldn't hang on to things forever, and it's okay to walk away. It's okay to let go. It's okay to go searching for something better for yourself in life. And your enemies have taught you how important it is that you make proactive decisions. 3 of Wands, Queen of Swords, that you make proactive decisions for yourself, and that you use your head and you think clearly and you make choices that are in your interest, and that you don't sit around hanging on to hope or holding back. Hope and hanging on, because it looks like on this Star card, right? Like she's hanging on to hope. She's hanging on to what she wants, but it's like, okay, and it's finding the peace and letting go with this 8 of Cups, and looking forward to better things for yourself, a brighter day for yourself, okay? And the Temperance card showing up could also talk about people like, if you've had a hard time making decisions in the past, or you've gone back and forth on things a lot, or you've put your emotions and what you're feeling before taking action and making proactive decisions for yourself. And some of you, for some of you, that may have looked like people in your past, giving up or walking away or letting go with no explanation. And you know, and, people kind of acting on emotion first or hanging on to their emotions over action and making clear decisions to kind of move on or cut things off, or just knowing that the future is in your own hands and it's up to you to make those decisions about your future, and it's up to you to be proactive about your future. Okay, so I do see, because the Queen of Swords in the tarot, she oftentimes gets a reputation for being kind of a bitch, which I love. And but it's like, okay, by making my own choices in life and choosing to take action based on what I want and not sitting and hanging on to hope, because I put my emotions in front of everything else, I'm actually able to move forward in my life, and I'm actually able to make proactive decisions for myself. And that may look like in the past, like enemies being selfish, or enemies like not inviting you to things, not including you in things. And it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to go have my own fun, or I'm going to go find ways to make things better for myself, regardless of whether these people like come back. And I also feel in relationships, I feel some of you have had relationships where you held on to hope, and the other person lost interest, and it just like they moved on like it was no big deal, and they just seem very self-interested and like they're just making decisions without consulting you, and they're not really thinking about your feelings, they're just thinking about their feelings. And it's like they just independently make choices all the time without considering your feelings or thinking about how you would feel. And maybe that is a skill that you are working on developing. It's like, yeah, I am working on my ability to make quick, rational decisions for myself and not hang onto things out of sentimentality or out of, hope for the future. We have here, don't waste a drop of energy trying to change someone else. Wow, interesting. And, hoping that someone's going to change, hoping that, things are going to be different, hoping that, the situation's going to change. And your enemies have taught you about quickly and decisively, with the Queen of Swords and the Three of Wands, like quickly and decisively making choices and not wasting a drop of energy trying to change someone else. Okay, and then we have a new moon in Aquarius here. Bring love into the situation. Okay, but I also think that a lot of times you guys felt like if I just help this person, or if I'm just patient, and for some of you, you may have dealt with enemies that were like very impatient and very quick, and you're the one trying to kind of come back in and fix things on the back end. Okay, feeling like maybe like my love or my devotion or my affection or my care can fix this situation. Okay, and I do think you've brought a lot of love and hope to people in situations. Pile number one, some of you with the Star card also represents Aquarius in the tarot, so and the Queen of Swords is an air sign. So, you could have heavy air in your chart, but also water, where you're trying to think about other people's feelings and you don't want other people to feel alone. And, learning how to be alone and be independent and make decisions on your own. And also is something your enemies have taught you, and also how to detach as well, which is another thing Aquarians are really known for. And that can be a very healthy coping mechanism in life when, we need to be independent and learn to think for ourselves and not rely on the opinions of others, and, not feeling like our love can save someone or fix someone, or we're holding on to hope that someone's going to change. I feel like your enemies have encouraged you in a lot of ways to move more independently and to think more independently for yourself, and to care have more self-interest about doing the things that you want to do, rather than waiting and hoping for them to do the thing that you want to do. And sometimes in life that can look like, for example, you made an amazing, gorgeous plan to go do something fun, and no one else wants to do it. So you just are kind of like left waiting, and then maybe you abandon or give up hope on the plan, or things like this, because no one wants to do it with you, or nobody actually, like, you want to bring in other people's energy, but at the same time you find you're doing things alone a lot. But I also think that is to increase your independence and to make like proactive decisions for yourself. We have identity. Peel off the mask and be your true self. Okay? And that has to do with going after what you want. Because if it's like, okay, I'm okay waiting, I'm okay, like, I'm fine, I don't need much, I'm okay waiting for something here, okay? But peel off the mask and be your true self. It's like, no, I want to do this. I want to try this. I want to try this hobby. I want to go to this event. And I'm sick of, trying to rope other people into things or whatever. Like, I'm just going to go do it myself. All right. Peel off the mask and be your true self and do the things that you want to do. We have direction. Wow. And the Queen of Swords. Wow. She is really good at finding the direction she wants to go. It's like, I want to do this. I'm going in this direction. And, maybe you were wishy-washy on some things in the past with Temperance here, thinking, oh, if I just wait long enough, or I bring love into the situation or encouragement into the situation, it's going to change, okay? But this attitude in the past could have left you giving up on a lot of things that you wanted for yourself, or things that you wanted to do for yourself. And I definitely feel your enemies have encouraged you to be like more decisive with your direction in life. We have here embracing change. Change is inevitable, but many are scared of it. Major life events like leaving home, quitting a job, splitting up with a partner, marriage or divorce are stressful, right? And sometimes making decisions like is very stressful, and we avoid it instead of like, we just hang on to hope and we avoid change and we avoid making decisions, because doing these things is very stressful and scary, and we have to really trust ourselves, right? But the Queen of Swords, she knows what she's thinking of and what she's trying to do and what her plan is. She's had a plan all along. It's like, I got the plan, I know what I want to do, I know what direction I'm going in, and I can handle it, okay? Prepare for the worst, but by taking the right risks at the right time, you will ensure you will get through it. Okay, instead of avoidance or dumping more emotions or things into a situation, it's like, no, just kind of like move on. And maybe that's looked like in your life where it's like, God, my enemies, like, or my opposition, or the people that are teaching me, it seems like they move on so easy and they don't even care, or they're always interested in their own selves more than they're ever interested in me, and they're always doing what they want to do, and how come they never want to do what I want to do, right? So I think that's about you choosing and making choices and just going with those choices. The best way to prepare for change is to be the one driving it. Yeah, how to drive change and drive decision making in your life instead of just going along with things or avoiding things. This is a big, this is a thing where it's like, yeah, I'm not just going to go along with it. I'm in the driver's seat. 3 of Wands, okay? And Queen of Swords, becoming a strategic thinker and putting yourself in the driver's seat is what I feel, okay? And we have fearful, yeah, and this could have been like where you were holding on to something for a while because you were fearful of change. And fear is a learned behavior that can be unlearned. Also, it's a low vibrating feeling that creates limitations for you and your future happiness when we're like fearful about everything, when we're hanging on to something and we don't want to let go, and then we like abandon ourselves in the process. But then we go through this period of empowerment where we find our identity again, we peel off the mask, and we become our true selves. And for some of you here with the Eight of Cups, that might have felt like self-abandonment, or it might have felt like, I know something is off or missing, but I don't want to admit it to myself, okay? Because I'm fearful of the changes that admitting that to myself would actually cause in my life. And this fearful, like holding on to things, is something that some of you could have learned, from the matriarchal mother figure in your life, okay? Or you learned this somewhere, is what I feel. And for some of you, I feel it's like you're on your maternal side of your family, okay? And this feeling of self-abandoning and holding on to hope and wanting to let go of the umbilical cord, but being afraid and needing someone else to do something with you. Like, I feel all of this is kind of, your enemies have really shown you a mirror with this. And it's like, geez, it's so easy for them to do it and just choose these directions. And this bird is going in its own direction, right? And has left the cloud of confusion behind, where all the other birds are chirping and flying out of and don't know what they're doing. This bird has chosen their own direction, and it's a different direction than the rest of the birds, but there's confidence in decision making with the Queen of Swords, okay? I'm making decisions based on who I am and in my own self-interest, and I'm making decisions in my life. I'm taking a risk, okay? Because the Three of Wands is about taking a risk. You see this vast vista in front of you, and it's like, how am I going to accomplish that? Okay, how am I going to, it's exciting and it's interesting, but how am I going to do that, right? And the Queen of Swords, very strategic about taking risks. We have movement. Yep, being scared about moving or being scared about progressing or moving forward with something. And, for some of you, this could be literal movement, like I want to leave where I'm at, or I want to like change where I am. This movement card actually reminds me of the Eight of Wands in the Tarot, which reminds us not to get stuck in one place and to keep our energy flexible and light and free so that we can move about as we want. And this whole feeling of I'm scared to make a move, or I'm scared to take a strategic, calculated risk, okay? But you also are like, okay, I need to move to a place, or I need to move to a place within myself that's more congruent with who I am. And the only way I can do that is by taking risks in my life and making strong decisions. Yeah, North Node. Ooh. And you know what? The North Node is definitely, and it actually says on this card, it says learning curve. And you know what? I feel like you guys have a really quick learning curve. Pile number one. As soon as you get rid of as soon as you like bust through the fear and you know what direction you want to go, you have a very fast learning curve. And, you can learn once you get past the fear, you learn from your enemies quickly. You're like, I got the lesson. Okay. I got it. I can put it into full effect. All right. And, with development and practice, your destiny becomes more and more clear, and you feel it's like a confident captain of a ship, and it's like staring out at the water, and you don't even really need to look at the compass. You intuitively know what direction you need to go or what you need to head, and you've confidently planned out your journey. So like you have a faith and a belief in yourself and your destiny and where you're headed in life, and you've got a direction in your life that's uniquely yours, okay? And this is about, fulfillment in your life and feeling more like yourself and feeling more confident in your decision making, all right? And all of these enemies have actually, and have actually moved you closer towards your destiny. Okay. And getting through the fear is actually what is going to propel you even closer to, like a bird flying in the sky. Like, I know what direction I'm going. Birds just intuitively know, like they have an internal navigation system. They know where they're headed. Okay. And we have heaven sent here. Ooh, I love that. And look at the third eye and the crown chakra are just completely lit up. And to me, this card feels very awake. Like, I'm very awake to who I am. I'm very awake to the energy around me. I'm constantly cleansing my own energy field. 33, this is card 33, which is a really, powerful angel number. But it's like, once my head is clear and I don't have all these distractions around me and my head is totally clear, I know exactly what direction I need to go, and I know exactly where I want to go, and I know exactly what I want to do. Once I get rid of these distractions and once I'm like have total clarity, then yeah, I feel like what it says is you guys are really tuned in. Okay. And super tuned in. And then we have here Uranus and Genius. Wow, I love that. And some of the ideas that you have, some of the like realizations, awakening, clarity, like all of this is making you understand things on a level that you've never really understood them before. And you really do have some genius ideas for yourself and for your life. And and I think by Uranus is a planet about being weird and unique and being uniquely you and handling that energy, because Uranus is very much like buzzing type of energy, and it does have to do with being different and rebelling and being unique. And so that is very interesting. And you have a unique destiny with Uranus in the North Node here. You guys have a very unique destiny, and you have a very unique way of thinking about things. And Uranus is an energy of like things bubbling up with excitement. Once you get past the fear, then that really can come into play. And I just want to read a little bit from this Heaven Sent card. I've just picked some passages that, let's see. Your spiritual gift may be symbolic. It may be something that seems ordinary, but holds a lot of meaning to you. It might be an object that catches your eye and mesmerizes you. You might think you are appreciating how lovely it looks, but it is the underlying energy that captures you. Something in the appearance, the color, or the shape speaks to you, and perhaps answering an unspoken prayer. It is not the object that is the gift. That is just the wrapping. The actual gift is subtle yet effective empowerment. Yes, it's like a spiritual booster shot that helps you move forward in life with additional zing, extra strength, and greater peace. Okay, you will be empowered to accomplish tasks that you may have nearly but not quite been able to manage on your own through this. Okay, so maybe in the past there was fear, and I was like, I don't know if I can manage that on my own. I don't know if I can do that. Okay, and now it's like, okay, no, I have the courage, 3 of Wands, to make certain choices for myself. And it talks about moving forward in life with additional zing, extra strength, and greater peace of mind is what I feel for you guys. And Uranus is that zing, that extra zing factor for sure. And just working through that fear and embracing change. And Uranus is a planet of change that really, because we can't change anyone else. We can only change ourselves and our mindsets and who we are and what we want, and go on a journey of our own, spiritual progress. So pile number 1, that is what I am getting for you. Sometimes you guys chose the ice bucket, and sometimes life is like that. It's like shocking, like an ice bucket being dumped on our head, which is very Uranian. Life can be shocking, very much so. Pile number 1. Thank you so much, my loves. Wishing you a very wonderful day and take care. Let's move on to pile number 2. Okay, let's do it. Pile number 2, welcome to your reading. Today's reading is called What Can You Learn from Your Enemies? Okay, or what have your enemies taught you, or what are they currently teaching you? We are here to find out. Pile number 2, you chose the lemon zest. Wake me up. All right, wake me up before you go. Pile number 2. Let's go ahead and see for my pile number 2s that chose the lemon zest. What can pile number 2 learn from their enemies, please? What can pile number 2 take and adopt and actually use it in their own lives to make their own lives better? Let's go ahead and see. What is pile number 2 learning from their enemies? Show me what. Ooh, okay. That one is a runaway train and wants to come out. We have the World card. Interesting. All right. Well, in this deck, the World card is a map of the world, which is interesting. So that talks about exploring and not limiting oneself, and being a citizen of the world instead of just, I come from this one place and I only know this one thing, and really expanding out into the world. Let's see what else. We've got Justice, okay, and we've got the King of Cups, all right, and we've got the 10 of Cups, all right. Oh, I'm already feeling something. And oh wow, we've got the Queen of Wands, but it came out reversed, okay, and there is definitely something here about searching for other people's approval, okay? And some of you really could have had a nasty, nasty, nasty person in your life with this Queen of Wands reversed, who's like very unfair, who's always looking at the negative, where you felt like you always have to prove yourself to this person, and things are always they're always seeing something wrong with something, and no matter like how much effort or how much thoughtfulness you put into something, there's always something wrong or something they don't like, okay? And it's not always about what's fair. Sometimes it's about what makes you happy, okay? And what makes you feel peaceful and emotionally content. And I feel like with the King of Cups, your enemies have really taught you to become like a strong decision maker, to consider other people's feelings, and to trust your feelings as well, and to become more mature. When I think of the King of Cups, I think of someone who is emotionally mature, okay, and ready to share their abundance with others, okay? And some people that you maybe have met in the world have been very shut down, or very and I also feel very close-minded, and maybe even like I'm getting like people that are very, some of you may have had enemies that were very like anti-immigrant or and I feel you guys are very accepting, pile number 2. You're very accepting of people, and you're very I feel like everyone could be your friend if they're a good person, right? Like you've learned, I feel like, to be a better judge of character with this Justice card here, because I feel you are very open emotionally, like very open-minded, very respecting of people's differences. And I feel like some of you could have been around people that were like anti-immigrant, LGBTQ, like people who were very close-minded and bitchy and having way different, very selfish, close-minded people who have bad tempers as well. Okay. And, you know, and I feel like there's this side of you guys that is always been very emotionally mature, but very accepting and wanting to show love to everyone equally. Pile number 2. Okay. But with this Justice card here, I feel like you've kind of realized like that isn't always possible, and I can't make everyone happy. And I do feel like your enemies have taught you how to have a very powerful discernment and to really weigh things out and see if what someone is saying and doing is making sense, okay? And let's see what else we have here. We have sometimes letting go is the best way to free yourself, okay? And that involves making the decision, you know, weighing things out. And I feel like with the King of Cups and 10 of Cups, you guys want to see the best in people. You have a tendency to err on the side of wanting to see the best in people. And I feel like some of your enemies have automatically assumed the worst about people. They've been very close-minded. They've been very like stereotyping people, xenophobia, like just very close-minded, very sheltered mentality, like not accepting of others, like very othering to other people, that type of thing. And I feel like you've actually been, instead of like trying to understand the person's point of view and be nice to everybody and include everyone, I feel like you kind of just have learned to weigh the situation out and say, yeah, I actually need to make a decision about this situation. And sometimes letting go is the best way to free yourself, and like cutting something off and making the choice and being more decisive, because justice is really about being decisive. All right. And not searching to other people for answers, but using your own discernment and then making a decision like, you know, this situation's too toxic. It's not for me. I do care about this person, but I can't really deal with it anymore. And I do need to make a decision to let go. Yeah, it says, what do you need to release? And the waning moon. Wow, and that's coming up under this King of Cups. And, you know, feeling very like I need to make a decision for my future happiness, 10 of Cups. And I need to make decisions not just for me, but also for my children, also for my family, also for, you know, my future happiness, okay? And I do need to release something here, okay? What do you need to release? Sometimes letting go is the best way to free yourself, okay? And for some of you, this may have had to do with, I feel like a relationship partner is coming in here. I also feel like a family member is coming into play here. Some of you could have grown up with a very judgmental family, a very judgmental father figure, and then had a partner who was very close-minded and judgmental as well. And, you know, and I feel like, you know, wanting to give advice or wanting to help people, wanting to make people happy who are just fundamentally wanting to provide happiness to people or live in an environment of happiness with people who are fundamentally unhappy. You know what I mean? Reverse Queen of Wands, like who are fundamentally not gonna be happy people in life. You know, like they see everything wrong with situations. They're always judging people, and it's just not like the way that you like to do things. And I feel like you guys have gone a whole lot of your, like, because you maybe grew up around a lot of judgment or judgy people like this, you want to be accepting towards everyone. But I think your enemies have also taught you that A, there's a way bigger world out there to explore, and B, sometimes, you know, judging, we do have to judge things. And of course, we don't want to do things in a way that is very like, what's the word I'm thinking of? Like very not intelligent or very, why can't I think of the word right now? Sometimes when I'm channeling, it's like I lose my mind. Like a very ignorant, you know what I mean? That's the word I'm looking for. Like doing things, like judging things in a very ignorant way. And I feel like that's not something you guys want to do. Your aim is to be open and accepting and empathic and understand where people are coming from. And you don't want to be ignorant, like some of the people that you maybe grew up around, or have ignorant viewpoints or judge people unfairly. But I also feel like, having a healthy discernment about situations and being able to decisively look at something and weigh it out and say, this is no longer, working. I need to release this situation. I'm not going to be able to make this person like chill or peaceful, or I'm not really going to be able to do that. And you know what? There's a whole wide world of people out there anyway. So yeah. And sometimes letting go is the best way to free yourself. I feel like some of you could have moved away from your hometowns as well. And you could have like made a decision to say, yeah, like I am leaving this place. I don't, like, it doesn't resonate with me, and it's not like my worldview and my mindset. And I did have to walk away. I did have to make a decision. A lot of people didn't understand it. Now that when I come home or try to see people, they think I'm judging them. I'm not, but I also had to free myself, from these attitudes and situations, okay? And we have here permission. Allow spirit and source to work through you, okay? And permission, okay? And I also feel like the permission to make decisions that are not going to always make other people happy and may leave a sour taste in other people's mouths, but it's for future happiness. And it's like I said, it's not just only your happiness that you have to think about. You have to think, for those of you that have children, pets, elderly parents, people that depend on you, whatever you got going on there, it's not a partner you need to think about that actually, or a future partner that you're like, I want my life set up in a certain way for this, right? And having to ask permission to do the things that you want to do. Also at work, I feel like you guys could be like, in the past, maybe you were very agreeable and accepting and like agreeing to things a lot. And you would try to like ask for permission to your boss, like, hey, I need some time off. I need to take care of a family member who's sick, or, I need some time off to spend time with the people that I love, 10 of Cups. And it's kind of always like you were having to ask permission just to be happy or do something that you need to do. And always feeling like you had to look for permission for the choices or the decisions from certain people in your life. And then people like telling you, no, that's not possible. Okay, no. And again, this is like a very small-minded type of an energy where I kind of feel like there's, like I said, you've maybe had to leave a job because of this type of situation in the past. Or maybe you've had to check out of relationships because of this. And, some of you could have had a very demanding partner where you always had to ask permission for everything. And it's like the person's always saying no. And it's like, okay, I just need to, like, it's too much, I'm trying to be agreeable. I'm trying to be emotionally mature. I'm trying to act up to my own standards in life. But it's like, it's giving like, I need to ask permission just to do something, to take a vacation or spend time with my family. And I just like, I'm done. Okay. Sometimes letting go is the best way to free yourself rather than try to like be agreeable in a situation and I feel like some of you were around such disagreeable people that maybe it like made you become very agreeable to others, but at the same time, it's like, you know, you going and trying to tell someone your plan or something like, hey, I'm planning to like remodel this part of my house, or hey, I'm planning to move here. And you're just sharing your plans with someone because you care and you want to share and talk about things. And the other person's like, why are you doing that? That doesn't make sense. Why would you move there? Or it's like, what is this? Like, some of you may have had enemies that are very much like that. And it's probably because some of them are jealous with this Queen of Wands reverse. Like, they're very spiteful and mean and jealous. And they only care about themselves, and they're very closed-minded. But it's like you trying to explain something, that your project or creative thing that you're working on that makes you really happy, and someone's like, why are you doing it that way? That doesn't make sense, you know? And it's like, ugh, come on, you know, like that type of energy. And always having to answer to like some asshole who is constantly judging what you're doing. This has been, and very close-minded people who don't really see like the benefit of what you're trying to do for everyone. I do feel like you give permission for spirit to work through you and emotionally lead you and guide you. But I also kind of feel like your days of asking people for permission to kind of do things, like as an adult, you're kind of like, yeah, I'm done with that. I'm not going to ask you for permission to like, I'm not going to, if you don't think what I'm doing is like valuable in any way. It's like somebody who's like, oh, I'm going to install a pool in my backyard so my family and I can have fun in the summertime. And it's like you're real excited about it, okay? And then somebody's like, why are you doing that? That doesn't make any sense. I have no, like, that's such a bad investment. Why would you do that? Like all this kind of stuff. Now, again, it may be this thing of your enemies always questioning you that made you, and maybe it's like, okay, I'm trying to be open-minded, and maybe they did make a good point about something, or maybe they weren't entirely, like somebody always playing devil's advocate with you all the time. It's interesting because I have a friend in my life, and shocker, right? I've got a friend in my life, pile number 2, but anyway, I have a friend in my life that I've known for a very long time, but her mother is like that. Her mother is always playing devil's advocate constantly. It's like, give it a rest, okay? But at the same time, because if it's something you're happy and you enjoy, right? But at the same time, being around these really judgmental, devil's advocate, constantly bringing up every other side of things, maybe have made you think a little bit more too about some of the things that you're doing, or be more decisive about cutting things off or letting things go, or just working on that energy of discernment a little more. And maybe not every single point that they made was a wrong point, and actually it gave you something to think about. It's like, you know, it's not like every single thing that they were saying was totally wrong. They did bring up some good points, but also, what is the purpose of having someone around you who's always doing that, you know, and feeling like you have to ask permission to like do something that makes you happy? It's like, come on now, okay? We have communication, and somebody who squawks at you and speaks at you. I feel like this is this Queen of Wands reversed, like somebody who orders you to do things and squawks at you all the time. And because you want to make this person happy, or because you want to have a nice environment for everyone, right? But it's like, even just permission to go for a while, like, it's like, why do I have to? And I feel like this Queen of Wands always talking over you, or always having so much to say about what, you know, is going on in your life. And I feel like communication, your enemies have taught you a very powerful lesson, I feel, about communication, okay? And feeling like you always have to ask for permission for things, or just because you're the more agreeable person, and maybe you don't like fighting, or you like to see everybody balanced and happy, okay? But it's like people kind of squawking things at you, or communicating with you in a very demanding, rough way, or even kind of like veiled threats. Because I see the knife here on this cutting board, and it's kind of like they're saying things, but there's like veiled threats behind what they're saying. And what you've come to understand about this type of person is that they're fundamentally unhappy with life. And no matter how much they have, how much money they have, how much whatever, it doesn't matter. They're always going to have something to bitch about. And your enemies have taught you a very important lesson about feeling emotionally happy within yourself, King of Cups, Ten of Cups, without having to depend on external things like money, status, you know, to kind of like make you feel important. Like, because your enemies are, it's like no matter what you give them or how much latitude you give them, it's like they're never happy. And I can see like all the rain and the gray clouds in the background here, which is telling me this Queen of Wands is not ever, they're not happy people, you know? And when they speak, they bark orders, and they always have veiled threats in whatever they're saying. And they act that way because they're fundamentally unhappy on the inside, and they don't, and because they're such a miserable person, they like to share that misery with other people. And I feel like your enemies have taught you a way to kind of block that out and really analyze what that person is saying. Like, yeah, that's not even true. And a way to hold your own happiness within yourself without letting their negativity kind of overrun you or overtake you psychologically, okay? And we have you can't be friends with everyone. Oh my God, that is what I've been saying all along, right? The King of Cups and the Ten of Cups. I want to be everyone's friend. Like, you know, I want everyone to feel comfortable. I want everyone to feel safe. I want everyone to be included. I want everyone to feel nice in this situation. And it's like, you can't be friends with everyone, okay? And some people are just, you know, miserable, and you do not need to ask permission to exist to these people, right? Friends do what they do because they are friends and we love them. They do it because they know it is the right thing to do. Justice. Like, I know the right thing to do. Okay. But while some people can be our friends, others cannot. The difference is that friends can be inconvenient, annoying, troublesome, expensive, and taxing, but we will forgive them, okay? And yeah, sometimes friends can be annoying, inconvenient, troublesome, but I mean, it shouldn't be like that all the time, right? Like, we have to weigh things out in life, and we have to like justice card. And yeah, they can be, and I do feel like there is a reverse Queen of Wands here who's a real piece of work, and who can be like very annoying and troublesome and expensive and taxing and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, yeah, we can't be friends anymore. Like, I've analyzed the plus and minus column, and we can't be friends. It's not working, okay? And it's almost like feeling like, do I have to ask this person permission not to be their friend anymore? It's like, no, you can just make the decision, like tell them, let it go, release it, okay? And this person certainly isn't everyone's friend, right? They have such like a closed-minded negative attitude. People are not naturally drawn to them, and people generally may have a hard time being their friend, okay? And even their closest friends may only be friends with them because they like how, you know, that they have money or that they have some status or whatever, or they're always looking for money and status and popularity and all of that. But it's like, we can't be friends with everyone. We can't have everyone like us all the time. And sometimes we do need to be a dick and really communicate like our unhappiness with something instead of tolerating it, right? And it's hard to find that balance with the Justice card, because it's like justice in this card in particular is like, you know, I'm getting really tired of hearing the same shit over and over, you know, of why this and why that, and always complaining and always something wrong. And yeah, that's what your enemies has taught you, is as open-minded as you are and as accepting as you are of people, you're not going to be friends with everyone. And that person certainly isn't. They rub a lot of people the wrong way. So that's okay. It's a big world, right? We have the world card here. It's a big world, and not everyone is going to gel with us. We have unworthy, okay? And a lot of this, like being nice to everybody and accepting and all of that, and wanting to accept everyone and not wanting to discriminate against anything. A lot of that may come from a feeling of having grown up with a sense of feeling unworthy, okay? And think deeply and ask yourself why you are not worthy of the situation at hand. And like, why don't you deserve to be happy? Or why do you owe, right? And some of this stuff of wanting everyone to like us or putting up with things can come from a deep place of unworthiness, particularly for those of you that grew up around really judgmental people that were constantly like cutting you down. Also poverty, growing up in poverty can really do a number on people, where you're very empathic, you care about everybody. If you grow up in poverty, it's like you don't judge anyone because you yourself have been through, situations where it's like, yeah, I didn't grow up with the most. I'm not trying to judge people for what they have. Like, it's about your internal happiness, right? And that's a beautiful quality to have, but also some of the trying to be friends with everyone or things like that, that could come from a place of unworthiness. And unfortunately, this like Queen of Wands reversed, I think the reason why they have such a negative attitude and are always spreading their negativity and giving veiled threats all the time is because they feel deeply unworthy as a person, but they also are incredibly mean to people. And so we have, your side where you're coming from, maybe coming from that feeling of unworthiness, and then them coming from a feeling of unworthiness, but they're like horrible and miserable and veiled threats and mean communicators, okay? But it's also about being able to look at a situation and go, damn, with the Justice card, damn, we are weirdly equals in some way in this situation, in the fact that we're both afraid of being unworthy, and so we're attracting this energy with each other. But I just got to make a decision here and cut this shit off, because I know who I am and I know what I have to give. And I feel like you guys do bring a lot of peace and happiness into other people's lives, because that peace and inner happiness radiates within a sense of feeling full on the inside. And I feel like that's what your enemies have ultimately taught you, is how to feel full and happiness on the inside without seeking the approval of everyone else. We have illumination, and it came out reversed. And so, yeah, I kind of feel like your enemies don't really want you to see who you truly are, and always make you feel left in the dark about things, and that you're just not seeing things clearly, okay? And trusting like your own feelings. With the King of Cups is all about trusting our own inner feelings and living within our internal states. And I also feel like the illumination reversed is your enemies are not very bright. A lot of them are very ignorant. A lot of them don't really understand the world and are very like closed-minded. And so that's why, and they know that. The thing is, pile number 2, on a deeper level, they know that about themselves, even if they'll never admit it. And something about you makes them feel very insecure, and that's why they act the way they do, okay? But like I said, for you, it's about knowing your emotions and your internal state, and knowing I can maintain happiness within myself and have discernment without this person in my life. We have the 6th house. And again, I don't know, I think these cards got a little turned around here, because this also came out reversed too. But also, I kind of feel like, the 6th house in astrology does have to do with work. And I did mention your job and somebody around you at work, and maybe there is a situation at work that you really do need to release because there is someone very like controlling and constantly picks on you all the time. Okay, but I also feel like this is coming out under this Queen of Wands. So this person is very unhealthy. This reversed 6th house. This Queen of Wands is very unhealthy, like mentally unhealthy, and spews their garbage like at everyone. Okay, and like may have a way of really throwing off your routines or throwing off your work or throwing off what your well-being. Okay, and I feel like this Queen of Wands is not well mentally. And I know a lot of us who are, you know, not that well mentally, but I mean in like Machiavellian type of a way, not that way, not well mentally. Okay. But I also feel like maybe you guys know that about this person and you felt sorry for them or you wanted to try to help them. But I also just feel like it's a lot of work and it's not worth it because it's just like encoded in their personality at this point, okay? And enemies who have like micromanaged because they're very unhappy, they constantly are micromanaging, they're constantly picking on people, overanalyzing, micromanaging everything. It's like, God, it must be exhausting to be you. And I honestly feel you guys have some compassion for your enemies with the King of Cups and the 10 of Cups. You've got compassion because you're like, God, it must be completely exhausting to be you with everything going on like that. And, but at the same time, like, I feel like with the Justice card here, it's time to make some choices about like maybe it is better to sometimes letting go is the best way to free yourself. You can't be friends with everyone, right? And there's the releasing of the fish back into the water, okay? It says release the dark wound, let love live, okay? Release the dark wound, let love live. And there's a person some of you here need to release. And this Queen of Wands, I feel like does definitely, like you need to kind of release them back into the wild and say, you know, namaste, blessings on your path, but it's not with me, okay? And, you know, there's more fish in the sea. I'm going to release this fish back into the water and release the dark wound and let love live, okay? And letting love live is very much 10 of Cups, King of Cups. And love is flowing through you and all around you. And, you know, with this pool of water, I do feel like it is about finding peace, like finding emotional peace and finding emotional balance without this Queen of Wands, okay? And there is something here, like there's multiple references to what do you need to release the dark wound. Sometimes letting go is the best way to free yourself. Like there's multiple references to this. And maybe like with this illumination reversed, you just didn't want to see it. Or you were avoiding a difficult conversation, kind of wanting to keep the peace. But I also feel like, you know, you can't, like we said, we can't be friends with anyone and everyone. And sometimes we need to, release that person back into the wild, like namaste, like I said, good luck and move on, right? We have the Yod here and destiny, all right? And the truth is that there's a lot of things in your life that you have to make decisions about and release and let go of because it involves the caring and nurturing of your destiny in life. And being able to let something go in peace, right? Because we can let go and be very angry and bitter towards something, or we can let something go in peace and find healing, the 10 of Cups, and find illumination, and find permission within ourselves to really live again and really love again, okay? But being able to release the dark wound of unworthiness and let love live in your life is a part of your destiny in this world. pile number 2, and your destiny is much bigger than these like closed-minded situations with these very closed-minded people whose worlds mentally, emotionally, and physically are like very small. Okay. And yeah, but I know you've got compassion for people, but sometimes the best thing we can do from a compassion perspective is let someone go so they can find someone more of their own like mindset, you know. And honestly, the truth is I feel like this Queen of Wands really needs you, or has really needed you in some ways in the past. And it's like, you know, treat them mean to keep them keen type of thing. And they're always like making threats to leave and things like that. But they're also like not a very functional person with this 6th house reversed here. And the weird thing is they don't, and you may not have even seen it for a long time either, just how much this person actually needs you and needs your approval, because they're so busy like turning it on you half the time. Okay. But I also feel like, you know, underneath it all, it's like this person really does need what you have to give emotionally. And maybe a piece of you knows that they're not a happy person. And yeah, they need the care and love that you would have to give them. But at the same time, with justice here, we do have to kind of take the sentiment out of it and look at the logic piece of it, and like really weigh things out and go, yeah, you know, this is probably something that needs to be released, like this particular person and situation. Okay, pile number 2. So that is what I am getting for you, my loves. I hope that reading resonated for you. And I wish you all the very best, and I'd love to hear your thoughts, your comments, and feedback. Take care, pile number 2. Let's move on to pile number 3. Okay. Let's go for pile number 3. Pile number 3, welcome to your reading. You chose the Swamplands, and today's reading is called What Can You Learn from Your Enemies? Pile number 3. Okay, nothing like a light topic to start your day with, right? But let's see. And actually, this is for you guys, okay? This is for you to take your lessons and take your learning and incorporate it for the positive into your life, okay? So let's see. You guys chose the Swamplands in pile number 3. And for my pile number 3s, what can you learn from your enemies for pile number? Okay, the Hierophant just popped out there. Okay. Some of you may have had enemies that were very stubborn thinkers, very religious, that type of thing. But let's see. Yeah, you're out of there. 8 of Wands. Okay. Let's see what your enemies, but also your enemies, because they're so stubborn, they may actually have a good staying power or ability to complete things. And that may be something that you're working on, is sticking with something instead of going or running from an issue. Pile number 3. But let's see what your enemies have to teach you. What do those stubborn asses have to teach you? Let's see for pile number 3, those stubborn asses. What do they have to teach pile number 3? 9 of Wands on the bottom of the deck. How to be a fighter. It reminds me of that song by Christina Aguilera called Thanks for Making Me a Fighter. All right. And standing up for myself, fighting for what I believe in, taking a couple knocks, getting down. I get knocked down and I get back up again. Okay. So let's see what else we have here. We've got the Knight of Pentacles. Ooh, how to be steady and determined. We have everything is fine, okay? And we've got the Page of Wands. And we've got the 2 of Wands. Okay, now for some of you, your enemies, it may feel like, God, they're constantly annoying me. They're constantly on my case. They're constantly like, and also I feel for some of you, it could also be the reverse, where you're constantly trying to motivate people to do things and they don't care. They're checked out. Or you're constantly carrying the responsibility in the situation and it's like they're not even listening to you. Like you're trying to help them or talk to them or do something, or you're carrying a lot of the responsibility and a lot of the tasks and a lot of the to-dos are falling on your shoulders and they don't even care and they're just completely checked out. Okay. And it's like and they don't really listen. That's the other thing. And I feel like for some of you, this has really pissed you off. Now, this could be in friendships, relationships, work. Okay. But I honestly feel for some of you too, this is about a relationship as well, where you were doing all the work and all the heavy lifting, or you were the one constantly always reaching out or always taking care of them or always like constantly with the responsibility. And it's like, they don't care. They don't reach out back. They don't see how you're doing. It's like they don't give a shit. You know, they're kind of like addicted to their phones or addicted to their laptops or their computers, or they're always on social media or dating sites. And instead of actually trying to build something with you or be serious about something, they're constantly like, you know, they're just constantly checked out. Okay. And like I said, they don't listen. They're not really like, you have to be the one to motivate them. You have to take care of them. They're just like off in la la land. Okay. And the thing that's really funny about your guys' reading, pile number 3, is I actually in some way feel that your enemies learn over time to look up to you. This Page of Wands is looking up to this Two of Wands. And I feel like the Two of Wands is you guys. And here's the thing, because you've had to do a lot of the heavy lifting and you've had to do a lot of things on your own, you've become very efficient at things and you have a lot of talents and skills and capabilities. And I kind of feel like some of you can handle a lot of responsibility, and there's a lot that you've had to do on your own simply because other people haven't really shown up to the party here, okay, in any type of a way. And what's really weird to me is I kind of feel like looking up to someone's enemies, okay? Like your enemies could actually be in a position later in life where they're like your student, or even in the next lifetime where this person becomes like your student and you're the one that is like, you need to get to frickin' work. You got things you need to do, like this type of thing. It's like role reversal. And all of a sudden this enemy is put into a position of having to win your approval, gain your approval, get your permission, like looking up to you, needing you to help them, needing, you know, it's almost like your enemies like gain inspiration from you because you are going after what you want. And now I kind of feel like you guys are achieving, like in your lifetime, you'll be achieving strong success, and it's going to be real hard to knock you guys off your throne or knock you off your game, because you're like, because of having to do everything, you've become very confident and sure of yourself. And it's almost like your enemies are like, God damn, like you look up, like they're like looking up to you and they're like, wow, I wish I could be like you. And I feel like you guys are mad because you're like, it's too late. Like I tried to help and I tried to give you some structure and discipline and things like this, but it's too late now. You didn't care then. And honestly, don't tell me you look up to me and that I inspire you and that you want to be like me, because honestly, like literally fuck you with this Nine of Wands, okay? Pile number 3. So I do see something like that. And what I'm also getting is a parent-child relationship here where a parent was really checked out. Now, this could go opposite. Pile number 3, this could go opposite, where growing up, maybe you were a very lazy, disengaged child, or you didn't care about anything, or you're going through your own mental struggles, and your parent was always trying to give you boundaries or give you tasks or have you do things and you're like, I don't care, okay? And I don't want to learn anything from you. Fuck you. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. That type of thing. Okay. But if you guys were in that position, I feel like what some of your enemies were, it could have been a parent or a sibling or somebody that was trying to show you this. And it's like, I don't care. I don't care. I'm not into it. I'm not into it. But later in life, it becomes very valuable because you learn to do things yourself. You learn to be confident in your goals. You become highly successful. And now all of a sudden, the enemies that you had that were constantly trying to boss you and tell you what to do and all this type of stuff, when you weren't into it, now they are actually looking up to you, is what I feel like. Okay. And also some of you in this pile, you could have had a parental relationship where your parent was constantly checked out, constantly, you know, drugs, alcohol, like whatever, just anything, constantly checked out. And like at one point you really looked up to this person and now you're pissed off because you see that they were taking advantage of how you were trying to help. Okay. And I feel some of you here, some of you could have had like situations where you were trying to take on the role of a parent and be the mature, responsible one, and they didn't want anything to do with it. And now you're successful. Okay, I'm getting multiple scenarios, so I have to tell you pile number 3. And I know you guys are like, commit to a scenario, Natalie. But I am getting there, my loves. I am getting there. Okay, and the Knight of Pentacles is like, commit to something. And the Ten of Swords is like, I don't hear you, la, la, la. Okay, and then it's like all of a sudden you elevate up to this boss, you know, confident boss persona. And now your enemies are like, wow, you're so great, or wow, look at you. And you guys are like, yeah, no help from you, no help, okay? But ironically, the lack of help or the lack of assistance is kind of what catapults you into success. It catapults you into the confidence that you have today, okay? So let's see what else. We've got, you can either worry or believe in yourself. Guess which one feels better, okay? And this can be where we're trying to like motivate ourselves to do something or to grow in some way, but we feel very intimidated, you know, and we feel like, wow, I'm not, you know, strong enough to do that, okay? And for those of you who did have a parent who was trying to motivate you, clean your room, do this, do that, da 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 da, and it's like, no, I'm playing video games. No, leave me the fuck alone. No, 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 no. Okay. And maybe there was a fear there that it's like, I don't want to be involved in anything, or I don't want to do anything because I don't have the confidence to believe in myself. And I feel like I don't have a good role model to look up to, or, you know, the thing is I honestly feel like for some of you, your enemies could become role models, or you could become a role model to your enemy, which is quite interesting, pile number 3, this thing that you've got going on. And maybe the fact was why, and with this Ten of Swords, I do feel like a laziness, okay? And trying to motivate oneself out of laziness. Like I'm in a ditch and I'm in a rut and I can't get out of this, and someone's trying to motivate me to do it, but I'm worried and I don't believe in myself, so I just give up. Like the Ten of Swords is like, you know, I give up. I don't know. I'm giving up. But actually, your enemy's trying to urge you to do something and work and figure things out and stuff like that, is taught you guys how to, over time, I feel you guys have started to believe in yourselves, and it helped when you found a passion or something that inspired you. And some of you could have had a boss that you looked up to, or just somebody in your chosen field, or somebody who has skills that you would like to acquire for yourself too. And having that person to look up to who's been successful and done a good job at something, like having that inspiration is crucial for you guys as far as developing belief and confidence in yourself. And I also feel for a lot of you, there was just a lot of things that you were not interested in growing up. And someone was always trying to get you interested in a particular profession or career, or like motivate you to do something they did. And it's like, I don't want to do the same thing that you did. I'm not interested in that. Okay. And I do feel like there's like your enemies are like, well, I'm trying to help you because and at the time it could have felt like this enemy is riding my ass. Like, leave me alone. I'm not interested. Okay. It's like when the Jehovah's Witnesses come knock at your door and they're like, would you like to have a moment to talk about our Lord Jesus Christ? And you're like, no, leave me alone. You know, I'm watching Friends, or I'm watching, I don't know, whatever show on TV, 90 Day Fiance, leave me alone. Okay. And this Knight of Pentacles, very annoying. Like, get up and do something. And it's like, I don't feel like it. I'm not interested in anything. Okay. And some of you could have had teachers like that who were like enemies, and they were trying to like motivate you or get you to become more disciplined or to sit still. And it's like, don't fucking talk to me. I don't like, not listening, you know, and spacing out and not really like paying attention. Maybe something that you guys do when you're mad because someone's trying to force you to do something you don't want to do. Okay. And and I kind of feel like this is a very frustrating thing to your enemies. Like, they're very frustrated because they're like, fucking come on, you know, and you're like, I don't feel like it. And it's like, oh, come on, you know, but you guys have a real way of, I feel, frustrating your enemies, and maybe your enemies have a real way of frustrating you too. But at the end of the day, I kind of feel like some of your enemies in life, like I said, they weirdly look up to you, or you weirdly start looking up to them, okay? And we have look at the bigger picture, full moon in Sagittarius. Yeah, I feel like your enemies have helped you to become the Page of Wands and the Two of Wands and look at the bigger picture of something instead of like shutting down and cutting yourself off because you don't like something. The thing is for you guys is I feel you have to be very inspired to do something because you need to believe in it. Not only do you need to believe in yourself, okay? And maybe there was a time where you just disengaged because you're like, it's not worth it. But now you see there's a bigger picture to things. And it's like, actually, through learning to do things I don't like, I learned the value of commitment and structure and discipline. And now, as a result, when I'm pursuing things that I really want to do, Page of Wands, like creative things you're actually interested in, I'm actually more apt to stick with them. And I'm more apt to stay involved and stay active and stay committed because I learned from having to do shit that I didn't feel like doing, and from someone pushing me to do stuff that I didn't feel like doing, okay? And yeah, I was mad at the time, okay? I was angry, Nine of Wands. I was very angry, but I've also grown from the experience tremendously because now I do believe in myself and I do know that I can do it, and I am inspired to do new things and try new things, okay? And that's what the full moon in Sagittarius does. It encourages us to look at the bigger picture of life, okay? And I actually feel like with this Ten of Swords, there could be maybe some of you have struggled like with attention deficit disorder. And it was very hard for like your teachers to understand why you weren't getting it or why, you know, this was happening. And maybe there were some people in your life that were trying to help you, but it just didn't resonate at the time because it was very hard for you to understand the bigger picture. And maybe some of you had kind of shut down and it was hard to believe in yourself, okay? But what keeps you moving in life is a sense of adventure, right? And like, I'm interested in growing into a person who is confident, sure of myself, successful, and like very independent. And I feel like what you guys like really, you know, what you really want is kind of like this Two of Wands, okay? And maybe there is someone in your life that's a little bit further along than you are. And it's like, I want to be like that person too. And maybe part of you is pissed that you're not farther along at something. But I do feel like your enemies have something to teach you about being committed and goal-oriented and focused on one thing at a time and picking things that you're inspired in and you're interested in. And some of you here may want to be self-employed, or you may want to be artists, actors, dancers, travel, like all kinds of stuff. Okay, own your own business. I could see that for you, pile number 3. I really could. But the most important thing is to find something that truly inspires you, okay? Because once you find that, it's like something clicks in you and you're like, oh, I get it now. I get it. Like, that person was trying to push me and I didn't appreciate it at the time. Okay, I was pissed off, I was angry, and I didn't appreciate it. But now I kind of get it, okay? And astral travel, you seek adventure while you sleep, okay? And this whole thing, like, I feel like you guys really do seek adventure and growth and change and movement and something to inspire you to do better. Like, you do seek this level of adventure, okay? But there may also be people in your life who are like, you're not ready. Like, you want to go and do something right away, right now, immediately. And they're like, you're not ready, okay? And you're like, what do you mean I'm not ready? I've worked really hard. And it's like, well, you aren't where I am, okay? But I also kind of feel like something you've learned from your enemies is, yeah, I may not be where you are right now, but that doesn't mean that I'm on the wrong path or that I'm doing anything wrong. And just because I took a side route to something, or because I took a more adventurous path, or it's taken me a while to find something that inspires me, doesn't mean that I can't get there and that I won't get there. Okay, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to be where you are someday. All right, and I feel you will be where that person is today, and even further. And that enemy may get very pissed off because you've elevated to a position to where they wish they could be, but now student has overcome the master, that type of thing, So I see a lot of this kind of thing going on. And sometimes, like, we look up to our enemies because they have something that we want that we haven't been able to find within ourselves yet. But once we find it within ourselves, then we become solid and stable in that. We have distance, okay? And, like, you guys wanting to go after an opportunity that really inspires you, and then your enemies distancing themselves from you and telling you you're not ready, okay? And all it really does is it makes you want to work harder and prove, like, that isn't right. I am ready and I am able. And some of you may have had people where you've gone to seek help from them or things like that, and they've actually distanced themselves from you. People you look up to, people you admire, and it may have really pissed you off, okay? And maybe on some level they are threatened that, you're gonna get to where they are. These things happen, right? Pile number 3, interesting energy here for you guys, all right? But sometimes with distance and time, we do get a better idea of why something wasn't working before, right? Like, if someone was trying to motivate you or encourage you to something and you just weren't interested in it at all and couldn't see the value in it at all, okay? But it may have also been because you were worried that you couldn't do it, okay? And now that you've shed that belief that, like, no, I can do it, all right? Now it's like things are different. And now that you've had some distance and you see the bigger picture of things, you get all the various aspects of what happened here, okay? It says, offer your foe a golden bridge, okay? Wow. A disagreement can turn nasty in the blink of an eye. Offering a golden bridge to your opponent to retreat over, even if it is sending them a message asking to talk, can start the healing process. Defeat is humiliating. Retreating over this bridge helps them avoid that humiliation and can motivate them to reconnect with you. Yeah, now they are looking up to you and you're like, oh, you're looking up to me now? And it's like, yeah, F you. I already tried and you didn't want, and now I'm distancing myself from you, okay? But at the same time, there's this sense of offering someone a golden bridge, whether it's you being offered a golden bridge or them, okay? Defeat is humiliating, all right? And maybe your enemies have taught you something about dealing with retreating from things or humiliation, or not wanting to commit to something because you're worried it isn't going to work, or not committing to something, just automatically shutting it down, 10 of Swords, because you believe that you had a belief that you couldn't do it, okay? And maybe some of you feel like, oh, this person kept humiliating me over and over and over again. But they're also like, I didn't want to give up on you and I just wanted to keep trying, you know? And this sense that your enemy's having to kind of come back to you and apologize. And the thing about the golden bridge is a thing about like not burning bridges as well, right? Because sometimes we offer the golden bridge, sometimes the other person offers the golden bridge, but because you never know when you're going to run into people, right? And that's something I learned in my career working in corporate America. Like, you never know who you're going to piss off, and that person may end up being your boss someday, and you never know, and they may get, risen up to a leadership position, and now that person is your freaking boss, and it's like, oh God, or now you're their boss. Awkward, right? So these things can happen in life. Defeat is humiliating. Retreating over this bridge helps them avoid humiliation and can motivate them to reconnect with you. So if you've got an enemy that wants to reconnect with you and you want to reconnect with them too, but you're only wanting to reconnect with them to be like, ha, 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 that type of thing, and show them, ha, look at where I am now. Maybe it is better to keep distance rather than humiliate the person back, because, hey, but at the same time, if you want to keep your distance from someone, then, maybe it is better to not offer any, kind of golden bridge, okay? Only if you're trying to start the healing process and begin a conversation where there's been distance in the past, okay? This can help us have reconciliation. Offer your foe a golden bridge, okay? Demanding, all right, yeah. And enemies who've been very demanding with you, okay? When displayed, you are most likely making the other person feel inferior. Check your anxiety and depression. And the 10 of Swords is really about experiencing anxiety and depression for sure. And it can make us miss the big picture sometimes, where we feel like a situation and actually for those of you that were trying to help someone and it's like they don't care, they don't want it, they're just spacing out and everything. There's this energy of being very demanding, demanding that the other person do something. And maybe some of you had enemies that were like that when you were growing up. A parent demanding you do something. Do it my way. You do it this way. Okay? That makes a person feel inferior because it's like there's only one way to do it. You have to do it my way. It needs to get done now. Okay? And then a person starts to shut down because it's like, I can't do it. I'm anxious. I'm worried. I'm depressed. I can't do it. But this other person is saying, you will do it, this type of thing. Very demanding energy, okay? And for some of you, you may have had enemies that were very demanding of you and made you feel inferior at times and made you not believe in yourself. And it also kind of put you in a depression, or it just made you feel really bad about yourself that was hard to get out of. And I think, you know, we have to kind of all recognize when we are demanding things of other people that they cannot give, you know, and maybe because they have mental health issues, they're depressed, they have anxiety, they're shut down, they can't see the bigger picture, they can't look at the bigger picture because they're too shut down, you know. And a lot of times people get accused of being lazy or non-committal or things like that, but the truth of the matter is they're actually really depressed, or, you know, this type of thing, okay? And so being very demanding with people can make people feel very inferior, and I feel some of you maybe did experience that growing up, this demanding energy on you where it's like, you will do this, okay? And all it served to do was just really shrink you smaller or make you feel less than. And the way to get out of that energy is to become interested in things again, and to seek adventure, seek out new experiences, you know, have a lust for life where you're excited to like learn about something new. It's like, ooh, I really like this topic, I'm gonna pay attention, like that type of thing. And also, you know, being more adventurous and believing in yourself instead of just, you know, worry, I can't do this, I'm not able, that type of thing. It's like, no, I actually have a really adventurous spirit, and I actually really love learning, and I actually am really interested in things, and there are things that I want to learn and do, okay? And maybe some distance from a particular person in your life would be a good remedy to kind of give some bigger picture to the situation, okay? We've got magic here. Ooh, yeah. And, you know, if you were really doubting yourself, really feeling inferior, really feeling bad about yourself, it's like, I feel you guys grow up into this very feisty person who has access to your magic, believes in the spirit of adventure, is interested in things, knows how to distance yourself from the people that don't respect you, and that you truly do believe in your magic of yourself, okay? And we have Neptune and dreams, okay? And one thing your enemies have maybe made you feel is, like I said earlier, that your dreams are so far away and you're never gonna reach them, and good luck achieving them. You know, that type of energy, okay? And here's the thing, even if our dreams will take some time to achieve, even if we are in the process of growing into the person that we want to become, it's important to have a dream. It's important to have an inspiration. It's important to, you know, seek adventure and seek new experiences. And perhaps some of you needed some distance from your enemies in order to pursue your dreams in peace and away from them, so that you can really believe in your magic, okay? And we have card 14, going beyond normal, okay? And for you guys, like wanting to do something different, wanting to do something magical, all right? And going beyond like what is normal or what is expected is something that is going to help catapult you into really being able to recognize your dreams. It's like the light bulb goes on and you have a moment of inspiration, and it's like, I know what I need to do, okay? And we have here part of fortune and increase. Yeah, yep. And this has to do with money. This has to do with belief in self, happiness, security, comfort, okay? And going beyond like the average normal, like somebody in your life could have tried to convince you to do like a normal average thing and just choose the most secure path. And it's like, no, I need to do something that really holds my attention and inspires me and allows me to live out my dreams and allows me to really touch into my potential and my magic. I can't really like do just the thing that is expected of me, okay, is what I feel here. And I'm going to read this going beyond normal, and I will read a little bit about it. Like, your enemies really have helped you see the bigger picture so that you can experience adventure in your life, and that you believe in magic in your dreams. And once again, you feel alive, okay, when they're not down your throats trying to force you into something you don't want to do. And for those of you where you feel like you were in a relationship with someone and you were constantly trying to motivate them and do all this and do all that, and maybe they couldn't because at the time they were too low or they were too depressed and it just wasn't going to work and that type of thing, or they just weren't well mentally. And I actually feel like some of you could have enemies that look up to you, or people that really annoyed you and pissed you off. Like, it's funny because they actually end up like looking up to you, which is weird, okay? It's kind of funny. They're like, wow, I wish I could be like you. And so let's see here. With this going beyond, pile number 3, okay? On the path of life, there are deciding moments where we can choose to go with the mainstream or dare to take a bolder, more authentic, trusting way, even if it seems less riskier or safe. People trying to push you in to do things that were very like safe, but not what you wanted. Pile number 3, to rely solely on logic and science without incorporating the mysterious and the magical, magic, Neptune, dreams, okay, is a recipe for an existence that is far too dry, okay? And this choice is about balance. It's less about choosing to honor either art or science, gardening or architecture, and more about integrating all approaches so that you enhance rather than hinder your journey. Yeah, and again, we want to enhance it and not burn bridges and things like that. Placing science or architecture above all else kills off the rebellious heart. Steadfastly relying on logic, proof, and a complete set of plans to measure and dictate outcomes will suffocate the soul. Yeah, that is the Knight of Pentacles, okay? And I love the Knight of Pentacles for having that steadfast logic, proof, set of plans, measure and dictate outcomes. That's all very Knight of Pentacles. But it leads to the Ten of Swords, which is like a killing of the soul, because there's no spontaneity there, you know? Basing decisions on limited factors with an imbalanced measure of success is unnecessarily limiting. This approach prevents us from living freely and spontaneously and with trust so that we can rebel against the need for things to go strictly according to plan. Choose to value decisions based on passion and instinct. 2 of Wands, Page of Wands, okay? And trust in life enough to embrace it as an adventure and let it unfold as it will. There is a time and place for logic, strategy, and planning and measurable outcomes. And maybe your enemies have something to teach you about logic, strategy, planning, measurable outcomes. And that's fine. That's fine. Maybe now, like with the 360-degree view, you can actually see that. But at the time, you know, it was made you real mad, but now you get it. There is a place for logic, strategy, planning, and measurable outcomes. These are not bad tools to have, but we must be vigilant not to worship them or allow them to quash our less rational but equally valuable decision-making tools, intuition, feeling, and those things you know without knowing how you know them. The flowing inspirational energy of the heart may have no conceivable basis in logic or reason and still be uncannily accurate, okay? So anyway, you're being asked to stay open to the intuitive approach in your life. You may have pressures around you from the world or from your own conditioned nature to do things according to the rules, to a deadline, okay, to the accepted mainstream view that you need a well thought out plan for success in a commercial venture. However, sometimes the best plan is to do what feels intuitively truthful in the moment and to trust that you are being led towards your own growth, okay? Pile number 3, that is what I am getting for you, my loves. I hope that reading resonated for you, and I wish you all the very best. Take care.